Digitizing one's teaching does not fundamentally change the pedagogical design that the trainer puts in place for face-to-face course. However, there are important aspects to consider in the process. Indeed, he must integrate the fact that the pedagogical scenario, as well as the potential hazards arising in the pedagogical relationship, must be anticipated as much as possible from the design of his course, because he will not be able to regulate these aspects as he can do in the classroom. Similarly, as far as evaluation is concerned, the trainer must pay particular attention because he can only rely on the digital tool to know whether his learners have really learned the concepts he wanted to transmit. The first step in instructional design is to define a methodology. To help with this, trainers can use instructional design models to create learning experiences to help facilitate learning. For example, the ADDIE, that is, Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluate, instructional design method is the most commonly used because it does not impose a linear progression on the learner. The trainer can then adapt or modify this method to suit his or her own teaching practices once he or she is comfortable with it. In the second phase of instructional design, the trainer should set learning objectives using short sentences. These should be expressed in a clear, tangible, observable, and measurable way in simple, everyday language. In order to better control their usefulness, the trainer can define learning objectives in two categories: the training objectives and the educational objectives. Training objectives include pedagogical objectives and are more general. They define, with the help of an action verb, the associated means, the conditions of operation, and the different activities of the training fields that make up a training program. This is the level at which the results of an assessment are defined according to criteria and indicators related to it, that is, summative assessment. This type of assessment defines the level of achievement of the learning outcomes. The pedagogical objectives define, with the help of a procedure verb, each action of the training objective. It is at this level that the evaluation criteria and indicators are defined, that is, formative evaluation. This type of assessment defines the learner's progress through the training course. Furthermore, it is advisable not to use common or familiar words as much as possible, or, on the contrary, academic words whose meaning has not been explained beforehand. The learning objectives can be classified into three categories which can be combined, particularly in the drafting of educational objectives. 1. Cognitive, that is knowledge. 2. Psychomotor, that is skills. 3. Socio-affective, that is attitudes. This category of learning objectives concerns the improvement of knowledge of safety rules, standards, professional calculations. This category of learning objectives concerns the improvement of skills, methodologies. This category of learning objectives is difficult to define because it involves defining attitudes or behaviors related to aspects of feelings and emotions. The action or procedural verbs chosen in the writing of learning objectives will allow the trainer to define their category and if his students have the necessary prerequisites to achieve them. For this, the trainer can set up a diagnostic type of assessment at the beginning of the training to enable him or her to check them. Ensuring that learners have mastered the prerequisites for learning is very important in the process of digitizing a course. Finally, the trainer will have to define the means available to the learners and the conditions under which these different learning objectives should be achieved. This will allow the trainer to define the level of complexity of the learning objectives that the learners will have to achieve. The third step is to maintain the learner's attention. To do this, it is advisable to structure the training in the form of a learning pathway that subdivides the main course into sequential modules. This modular learning pathway must be able to meet the requirements of a certification scheme while allowing learners to know which training module they should take first. Modules then need to be structured and organized to suit the timeframes, outcome requirements, and content planning of e-learning while avoiding information overload.